It looks like the gang's all here. I mean, good chunk of you anyway. So I figured, why delay things? We'll just go ahead and get started. Um, Thanks for coming in here and hanging out with me. Things are going to look a little different today. Yes, the bot is here. Well, I don't think that the bot's going to go away anytime soon because I don't have a moderator yet. So I haven't even figured out how to do moderation yet. So we'll have to, let the AI rule us, as it were. Um, but things are going to look a little different this morning because I cleaned out the coke that was in my forge and pushed back some of the last green coal I have to the back of the forge. I can show that pretty easily if the camera's actually willing to see it. And then I loaded it up. Let's go ahead to that one. I loaded it up with charcoal instead of, there we go, you can see it there now. GoPros are amazing, right? And loaded it up with charcoal instead. So it smells real nice in here, campfirey and all. Say hi to Rosie. I let her out of her paddock because our pasture area is wonderfully overgrown at this point, so the donkey and goat have plenty to munch on out there. So now she's going to wander around the smithy for a bit because she loves seeing what I'm up to. Get that set up, and she's going to roll around in the ashes of our cardboard burn pile. Hey, Alexis. So I guess the first order of business is just remind myself who all's here. We got Shane, who thinks he's first, then Ben, who says nope, he was first, Jeff, and Jurgen, and Michael, who can't decide if it's morning or evening, Kevin, let's see, who else? Did I already say Shane? Yeah, because I think he said he was first. Stephen and Alexis. So, a nice little crowd already this morning. Honestly, didn't expect to see Alexis here. I know it's work all day for her. So, let's switch back over to this real quick and just remind people where we left off last week. We've got ourselves a curly Q hook. We've got one side chiseled. It's time to do the other three sides, so we got to heat it up for that. And if you can't remember why we're doing that, it's because Christina asked for a dragon scale pot hanger dragon scale twist on one of her pot hangers because she was jealous of Thomas getting the first dragon scale twist out of me. So let's heat this thing up and hopefully not burn anything off. Got all the fire pixies when you work with charcoal to work with. It was the first thing that made me realize this time I cannot forget to wear the protective eyewear and put on the apron because this stuff's going to pop at me the whole time I'm throwing air through it. This is not charcoal I made for myself. All my wood that I can charcoal is wet, and I just haven't found the day to get it out here and start a fire up that'll both dry it out and turn it into charcoal. So This is instead a good old bag of, what do they call it, cowboy charcoal from Coastal. Yep, cowboy brand charcoal. Big old lumps that I had to break up with my little hatchet. Well, I appreciate that, Kevin. Yamez is going out this morning to weed whack his yard. I said, you know, livestock might help you there. And he's worried that the highway running by him will cause him trouble. So out he is going to get all hot and bothered with the weed whacker. All right, I need a pair of tongs for this one. And I remember resizing this set just for the purpose. Go ahead and pull this out and see if we're getting any heat here yet. We are, but it's not even close to ready. I can start to see color, but there's no risk of burning it yet. That's good. Pull this charcoal back again. Biggest problem I think with charcoal is in my forge at least, I seem to go through the fuel a lot faster with charcoal than I do with coal. There's the airflow I need. I don't know that wet charcoal would work or not. Hey, Rob. So, Michael, that's an interesting question. The answer is an interesting one, too. In this forge, yes. It's a V-shaped forge specifically for taking wood, which this is, you know, way too much, actually. It needs to be smaller. Like, this needs to be cut into thirds. But I can make that happen. But to take wood, load it up on the side, and yes, it will pyrolyze and, is that the right word? And turn itself into charcoal. Cook, in other words. So I am very tempted to do that. I just haven't decided that it's necessary for what I'm about to do here. And instead, I'm just setting the wet wood on top of the forge to do a little drying before I cut it into pieces that will suffice for this purpose. As far as whether wetting it would cause less fire pixies, I don't know, because I think the reason the fire pixies exist is that as the ash pops off, you know, it's sort of like the forge scale. You know, you get some instant oxidation for the smallness that you're dealing with. There we go. Good enough to start putting some lines in here. So let's bring her back here. There's the one. Let's go to a side that's easy to do, comparatively speaking. I will even turn it this way so I can see what I'm against the slit that I've already done. Estimate my middle. Yep, looks good. just start walking it down. It doesn't have to be perfectly central. This is an organic thing we're making here, but it's what I've seen everybody do, so I am shooting for as close to central as possible. Don't touch the hot metal, Jack. And we're close to the same alignment. And I'm not going very deep this time. I'm just trying to establish where it's going to be. And then we'll revisit it after I heat it back up again. Ow, that was my hand. And yeah, it is warm right here. But not so warm as to make me feel I absolutely have to have a glove, because I made these longer than my previous ones. Getting smarter in my old age. All right. Take advantage of the weight. Try to get it under the coals, but that's not always easy. And then we just pull the coals back. I might end up pulling some coal in from the back while I pull my charcoal back over, but that's no big deal. All right. Stephen, I am, I don't know if you've seen my earlier live streams where I've made pot hanger hooks with curly Q. So it starts as an S hook, and I add the curly Q on there so that they don't just come off the top every time you try to lift a pot or pan off of your pot hanger. And my wife was jealous of the first dragon scale twist that I did on the bottle opener I sent Thomas Goodamoot. And she said, I got one for you. Make a pot hanger hook with a dragon scale twist in it. And it's been a 3-episode arc because the first episode was putting drawing out, what is this material I'm using? I think it started as the really heavy stuff I have, the 3/4 inch. Let me see. Yeah, yep. 3/4 inch, and so I had to draw that out and try to give it some sort of a gracious-looking taper. But at the hook end, it needed to be 1/4 inch square, and so I got that part done in the first stream. I started working on the reverse taper to get it to try and figure out just what the length of the middle needed to be to make a nice looking dragon scale twist. And so that one got finished up and off the bar and curly cued last week. And now this week we're going ahead and finishing up the twist itself. Oh, the piece of wood, cedar. Cedar's, one of our favorite materials to work with here in the Pacific Northwest. If you don't know, cedar is one of those woods that doesn't rot so easily in all the damp. Happy 46th anniversary, Kevin. Just scrolled back and saw that. I was probably too busy feeding animals and setting up to see it in the stream, so I'm glad you popped over here to remind us. That poor lady. Ah, yeah. So there's no way that this charcoal isn't at least a tiny bit damp, um, just because the moisture in the air, right? So seems like the pixies are taking a break now. So we've worked that out, and that looks like it's hot enough to continue the effort. Definitely. At least hot enough on the one end. So let's pull it forward. And I'm pretty sure I just got some um, cooked charcoal. In other words, coke bound with the charcoal. That's funny. All right. Out we come. Deep in that groove. We're going to get groovy. And what's all over it isn't scale this time. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's just ash. And that's one of the downsides of using charcoal, but not enough of a downside to really deter me. I love the smell of charcoal burning. It's firmly in there now, so we can give it some wallops. All right. That groove is done. Let's flip it back over and just make sure I didn't, yeah, that looks good. All right, on to another side. I will say, unlike coal, charcoal's fires don't take nearly as much tending. So if you're going to work with a solid fuel for the first time, I think charcoal's probably the way to go. Fire's not going to go out. When you just shove your piece in there, you're not disrupting the whole fire because, frankly, all of the charcoal is going to catch. All right, and now we are seeing some coke coming in from the back. We're going to get to like the last of my coke. I'm actually going to go ahead and set the last of my coke that's in my bucket in there. Today, or a few days, a week or 2 weeks ago, that's what it was. 2 weeks ago, I made fire starter in an odd way. I had found that my bucket of oil that I keep in a fire bucket, because you know you should definitely keep oily rags and buckets of oil in a bucket that has a lid. And so I've got one of these fire buckets. I'll show it to you. Fire bucket, right? So I've got that fire bucket, and so I keep my quench oil bucket in there, and I throw oily rags in there. And apparently my quench bucket has a leak. It leaked all in the back of, all in the bottom of the fire bucket. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Now I got to figure out what to do about that. And I had all this coal dust, coke dust, coal dust, you know, that you pull out from the bottom of your forge, because as I understand it, coke and coal don't really ash the way charcoal does. And I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this? This is kind of useless stuff. I can't just put it in my forge. It's not going to burn in my forge at all. And then I realized, well, I need something to soak up all of this oil. And so I dumped it in there, mixed it all about, and then decided, I don't know what to do with this right now. But I had in the back of my brain that this might make some sort of, burnable substance. And I took a couple of fistfuls this morning because getting the charcoal started this morning was much harder after my son broke my torch that's a super torch, and it's almost a forge torch. It was a Kickstarter my wife bought for starting up charcoal fires. Fastest way to start charcoal fire, they like to say. And damn thing costs like $120. Well, he accidentally set it down in a way that the bottle fell and the thing broke. So we might be able to repair it, but this morning that meant I had a harder time starting my fire. Oh, that's no good, Jack. It's not horrible, but it's not great. I just pickled my the bar, the 3/4 inch bar that I had used, by leaving it in the water over the week. Anywho, but it made great fire starter. It actually got things going for me. A bit smoky, but I mean that's exactly what oil is going to do, right? It's going to smoke until it catches. But it caught. Real beautiful. It was easy to then get the charcoal going. So now I found a good use for this stuff. It's now a good fire starter. All right, scrolling back. What's wrong with her? That's what I say about my wife all the time. How in the world she decided to hang out with me? I've driven her crazy, I think. What's grilling? Yep. Exactly, Michael. That lifelong adventure partner is an amazing blessing. Here, Ben. Stream elements, you don't have to remind us all the time. So what do other people do with coal dust? Or is this a almost 100% charcoal or gas forge group of people? All right, I think, if I remember correctly, I have to move this way because of the way the piece is going to have to overhang for me to be able to hit it. Let's move that way. Anvil. Just in case you were curious what I was doing. Moved all my tooling over to the left side so I can overhang on the right side. Let's pull it out and take a look. Well, okay, this is a real treat, guys. He never comes this close to me. So I've got to spend a moment to share. Who just came to visit me. That's Percy. Hi, Percy. His tail feathers are growing back. The last folks who had him didn't treat him well. And so now he's kind of afraid of humans. So I'm real happy to see that he came to hang out by my forge with me. All right. Let's get this out of here before it cools down too much to be useful. Give it a little brush so I don't have to stare at all of the stuff there. Okay. Nope. Yep. Overhang this way. There we go. Except I can't see what I want to be able to hit that way, so we are going to go back over to the other side because I can still see that and use the step. There we go. Hang that up. Let's start laying out a line. We'll start in the middle. That looks about right. Let's give it a witness mark. Yep, that looks good. There's that. I absolutely love now having a curved chisel. Being able to walk the chisel down a relatively straight line is a huge benefit that I did not have until I made this chisel. And that actually looks pretty good. Let me grab it, scrub it, and make sure I'm right. Okay. It could come down just a hair more, so I'm going to go ahead and try and make that happen. It's not too cold to mark it. And that looks good. Let's get it hot. Bring it back just a hair. There we go. What's funny is, now that I've burnt up so much of that charcoal to do this and put the coke in on top, I suspect I can finish my whole forging with just the coke that I put in there. Let's see. Ben needs dinner first, Stephen. Charcoal and have used gas. About 100 pounds of coal at Quad State. Haven't used it yet. Well, I'll tell you, it's a very nice fuel to work with. I'll say that. Coal dust I line my firebox with, or sometimes use as a blanket over my fire if I need it. Okay. Kind of dirty, clinkery, but it's fuel and consumable and fills empty spots okay. That's what I was wondering, yeah. If I start burning hollow, I poke it and it sloughs off. Okay. Yeah, I could see how that would work. Slightly curved lines, that is. Oh, that's a good point. If I just make it wet. I have a whole bucket here that I can do that with. I did that. I don't remember when I did it. I did it one time over the winter. Um, wet the coal, and I think it was specifically to see if I could get some of this coal dust to cake together. And it turned into a. I got unlucky and we had a hard freeze soon thereafter. So, hey, look at that. That's a fun mud pie right there. That's a mud pie that I can forge with. All right, we'll leave that alone for a little bit. Hey, Governor. Good night to you. I feel like one of those chimney sweeps from Mary Poppins. Go. Set that there. Get back there. No walking off the anvil. I don't think Kevin's ready to start drinking yet. There we go. That looks good to me. Let's go on to the last side. And that one definitely will require the overhang in the other end. Okay, all that's fallen on the ground so far are tools, so you decide what that means for you. And that's how the overhang will have to be done, not at the end, but caddy corner, as my mother used to call it. All right, back into the fire. So, I watched Fire Creek Forge last week work on a knife that gave me an idea of how to finish this one. He made a handle using twine, and so twine and what's the stuff called that you use with fiberglass? Resin. Twine and resin. He made a handle, and I think that is what I'm going to try to do with this one. So it's you know, the biggest concern I have is that I didn't make a tang that with the size that I need to to create an effective, handle using scales. Hey, Thomas. "137 days, 19 hours. All right. Thomas, don't say things like that, because that means that like 70% of the time I'm living here, I should be house cleaning. Somebody got a tattoo? Ben? What kind of stabbings are you talking about? Alright, that's a nice hot chamber. Let's see what my material looks like. Looks like it's ready. Yep. Alright. Remember which side I'm working on. There it is. Overhang. Set that out of the way. Find my middle. Ish. Come on. That looks right. Let's witness it. Close enough. Noisy bunch out there. That's more like middle. Hasn't hit the ground yet. Oh, that twisted all the way around. All right. Good enough. Let's get it back in the fire and warm it up again. That is a rock. That came in with my charcoal, and I was like, that can't possibly be a honking big rock they just put in my charcoal. Yes, it is. We'll just set that on top. No sense in heating up a rock. It got nice and hot, though. thousands of times at Quad State. Nemo's Forge Tattoo. Nifty. Yeah, I think that's how that works, Ben. Okay, inquiring minds want to know, how does one entertain cheese? All right. That needs to go that way. Let's deepen the groove. That's deep, dude. Groovy. Get back over there. Nope, one more. Nope, that was actually right. Okay, stay there. That's sort of straight. Straight enough, right? All right. That is the forge work done until we twist it. Now, we need to take that, all the chow, grab that, so that there's a camera where the excitement is. You know, as long as I don't make the camera tip over because it gets caught up on my brush. There we go. All right. Switch over there. Cool this off real quick. Because I got to be able to hold it to cut it. All right. That is what we're going to work with. I have to mount up the bandsaw. Let's see how much juice this thing has. We're at 2. Yep, we got the battery out here just in case I need to swap it, which I probably will. Kids, do not try this at home. I'm an untrained professional. No, I'm an untrained amateur. And when I lose a finger, you all can point and laugh. But don't say when you lose yours, it's because I told you how to do it. There we go. And now I have a bandsaw, an upright bandsaw. Of course, that angle is the lousiest for your purposes. So let's come over here. See if we can make it any better. Doo-doo-doo. Uh-oh. Gotta go read Facebook. I hate going and reading Facebook. I looked as smooth and suave and debonair as an old fat guy. Well, you know, we do what we do. We work with what we got there, John. As long as you didn't look like the penguin. An iron bloom. Yeah, that would be funny. In the meantime, the rock cracks and explodes into 15 different directions and a shard ends up in my arm. Nah, I don't think I'll do that. The blonde. You can do it, kids. Sorry, guys. Motion sickness. All right. The next thing is get on the other side of these cables so I don't trip and kill myself. I don't need to be on that side. We come in here with my little human hand finger equivalent. Get that a bandsaw whirring and have the human finger equivalent slip off. So try that again. Now, the good news is I can't get hurt for having the human finger equivalent slipping off of the trigger. And that's actually kind of by design in my situation. I could make this like permanent and zip tie it, but then there's no safety mechanism for quickly stopping it. At least this way I could quickly stop it just by hitting that. All right, it is a whirring. And the question is, do I want to just go for it? And the answer is probably not. I also have to think about which direction do I want to make the cuts, which one will actually be less problematic. And the answer is, I don't know yet. I think it's going to be with the curlicue direction. And in case you can't see it, I'll show you why that's a problem. And it's this right here, the guard. So I think I'm going to stop for a second. We'll revisit this in a second because I would prefer to have just at least the guidance lines, layout lines. One might call them, but I'm only going to use them as a hint that I don't get if I don't do that. So first, this. So we'll switch back over here real quick. We'll go ahead and move things that don't need to be there anymore. And I don't need this anymore. But what I do need is this, just so I have something to draw lines with. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. None of this needs to be... You don't actually, for making this stuff, you don't actually have to do the layout lines, obviously. I'm doing it because it makes me feel better to know that I've got marks to work against. And what I'm trying to do, for those watching this, and I think I'll even try to zoom in a little, in case you're actually not just listening, but you're actually watching the video. We'll go ahead and see if we can get focus in on here. All right, that doesn't look horrible. You'll see I've created two lines so far. This one here, this one here. My goal with these lines is to then have them as far apart as is basically they are wide. So obviously this area is a little wider, so it'll get farther apart. My goal is to make cubes. And then look at it and see if that was actually what I wanted to do. Worst case scenario is I just wipe it off. This is soapstone. It'll come right off. Okay. Flip it over. Okay, you can see now that I didn't travel that one as far down. So that's okay. Just has to be close to what I want to accomplish. And transfer those lines to this side. When everything's hot, sometimes it's hard to see. Hot and scaly. Got it right up there. If I wanted to actually, let's go ahead and put the mark here anyway. That one definitely didn't go all the way down. So I think we're going to end up leaving off that. We'll see. And we'll go ahead and mark that one too. All right, so that's transferred all the way around. They're close, they're not identical. The point though is to make cuts like that. And this lets me better eyeball whether I've accomplished that goal well or not. My last one wasn't perfect, and Thomas hasn't complained yet. So I'm not worried about this one getting to be perfect too. And I say that because I don't know how many times I've watched Smiths do these things, and I kept thinking to myself as they're doing it, wow, he's way off. And now that I've done it, I understand being way off is not a big deal. And if you're confident enough, doing this markings isn't even necessary. Maybe after my 10th one, I won't do the markings anymore. All right. Hot and scaly. There is a whole subculture out there for that, Ben. So you and your wife get to talking. Ah, another Ben showed up. And I got confused as to which one was saying that. All right, now we can come over here and try not to trip on things. Switch back over to the vise. I got 3 out of 4 sides. That's all I needed. Let's try that again. Finish that up. Yeah, you can't see that, so we'll do it down here. Left it off. On that side. There we go. One of these times I'll do it where I don't set off a cube and see how it looks different when I use different size spacings. All right, marked for my pleasure. Now, if you don't have a bandsaw, this can be done with a hacksaw as well. I'm just lazy. There we go. With a hacksaw, you're less likely to take off your fingers, boys and girls. It's not impossible, though. All right, this is going to be the hard one. So, let's work on other corners instead. The angles are such that that guard is still getting in my way. So I might have to break out a hacksaw after all. And that's just the battery saying I don't like you anymore. But that is the first successful cut. We got ourselves a really good one. I'm going to see if I can get it all the way through. Oh, I really have to change the battery. Okay, let me do that. There we go. Now we got all the dots, aka batteries full. All right. Try to make sure I'm not going to accidentally pop this out of place. It doesn't look right. I probably have it too low. There we go. That's a much happier sounding saw. While I've got that one working, let's go to the next one. Nicely cut through. Good angle. Do another one. That's 3. Pretty good. That's 4. See if I can give you a more exciting angle. Get it up on the diamond, or else I'm not cutting the way I want it to. This one I think is going to be a little bit off because I don't feel like I kept it on the diamond as well. I also think it's time for me to buy a new belt for this thing. I mean, not a belt, saw blade. Yep, that one definitely was not kept up on the diamond well, and that's what happens. You end up overshooting where you're cutting. So, got to make sure we keep it on with the diamond up well. I can't get that one. Let's get to this one. Didn't quite make it to where I want to. That's a very tricky move, trying to put it back onto the blade. You can easily bind the blade and bend it. I think that's how I've managed to cause this blade to be problematic. That one went well. Try the next one. Up on the diamond. There's an inclination, because it's pulling down on you, to then pull back up on it or twist it as you're working it. Especially since I have levers, by the hook sticking out the way they are. And I have to resist that temptation of applying that leverage. All in all, my cuts are definitely better this time than the one I did for Thomas. As one would expect, the first one's not going to be necessarily the best one. Honestly, I think that's why my wife likes collecting them. The firsts. That one went well. And I think I'm going to pause here. I don't have a clue what the duty cycle on this bandsaw is, but I have a suspicion, constantly going for long periods of time is not the best thing for it. Probably was not the intention when they made it. It was supposed to cut through something and be done. It was made for us lazy folks that didn't want to break out a hacksaw. All right. Turn that off for a minute. Rest, catch up with the chat. We're getting some good progress there. I'm not screwing it up too bad. I'm actually being successful most of the time. Set this over here. Come back to that after a little bit. Let's see what's going on over here. Hey, Roy. Happy 500,000, man. Wow, I'm glad to see you guys have been talking. I have not seen the treadle hammer yet. I am so excited. I actually told my buddy yesterday that I'm going to need his help getting it set up. So, looking forward to setting that up. Tons to complain about, huh, Ben? Oh, I don't do the beginner project in the first hour anymore. I guess I need to update that. But I mean, kind of. I am still a beginner. It's just I'm a beginner who's not afraid to do things that are a little more advanced. I'm I am in planning on getting out there and doing a live stream at Quad State. We'll see. Um, it all depends on if I can make the trip or not. And yes, Daniel, you did make it in time. Uh, and I'm just realizing I'm thirsty, so let's grab the water here. And yeah, I don't think the casing is really supposed to be moving, but again, I'm abusing a tool. Um, I do now have the ability to have more power out here, which is why I am seriously considering moving some of my tools out here, so I can have uh, my Craftsman cheapo disc and belt sander out here, and then I might also get a real bandsaw. But it's all by way of EcoFlow. Not a sponsor, but reach out to me, EcoFlow, if you happen to see this or somebody passes you along. I know for a fact I can sell your stuff better than the guy who was trying to sell it to us, or not trying very hard to sell it to us at Costco. Oh, Ben, I don't have any tongs to give away that I would feel proud of yet. So, if Roy's giving away stuff on my channel, though, that's fine. Uh, the V block. I need to see. I guess I need to go watch a video of yours then, Roy, because I don't remember seeing you do a dragon scale twist. So knowing how a V block works in this works for this is I'm missing that. Yeah, it was definitely it's definitely uh, some work on this little bandsaw. Porta band isn't meant for this. Crypto gifts, Roy. You've been hanging out with Yamez too long if that's happening. I end up clicking and reporting those things when I see them. I don't know if it does any good, but I'm always hopeful. So Rob, you just wing it, huh? You don't do the markups anymore. Something's on my phone. Oh, hey Mike, that's awesome. 5 millimeters fits perfect. We were working on 3D prints yesterday, and the first one we printed was just undersized, and the second one we printed was just oversized by increasing the diameter by a whole 1 millimeter. Turned out we only needed to increase it by a half millimeter. So that's good to see. Uh, whose kilt? Because I know you're not going to see Roy in a kilt. I might wear one, but I don't think that's going to happen to him. And Roy, by the way, um, you need to go to a Scottish Highland Games and go tell one of those gents that they're not real men. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, I mean, having one out there, if you've got the time to make one, obviously you're a busy man. Um, you know, nobody's going to be upset to see yet another dragon scale twist, especially by somebody who, presents as well as you do. But I don't think I've seen anybody use a V block for the purpose yet. So that could be an interesting reason to put it out there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just misremembering. But all of them I've seen have done a much better bandsaw. Uh, like using a real bandsaw rather than a portaband or a hacksaw. Oh, unplugged. Yeah, now I get what you're saying. So you still don't. Do you mark yours or do you eyeball it? Do you wing it? I gave it serious consideration of winging it, and then like thought better of it. High precision isn't necessary, but a little precision is awful nice, I think. Um, so we have both, or when I say we, I should say Mike has a resin printer, and I'm not sure which resin he was using in that. I remember him telling me, but I can't remember. Um, and and then he had PLA infused with carbon fiber for the other printer, and we were just having them both go at it. So, yes, exactly. Let the wind flow. The breezy summers. All right, that's giving it a little time off. Let's get back over here and put a few more cuts in here before the battery runs out. What do I got? 1018. We'll see. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can twist this and be done with it today, but I don't think so. I think we're going to run into Problem where I can't make the cuts for the top, so I have to go get the hacksaw. Let's try that again. There we go. That's the angle I wanted. Nope. Alright, the reason this is being a problem is I'm not doing it from the side where I can actually see what I'm doing. Let's get over there. There it is. Alright, there we go. Tool abused. Sounds like that rest allowed the battery to shift its gremlins around a little bit. Looks good. You know, I think that'll still look good to put this bottom cut in, because each of these twists will still end up laying over the top of what's going on there. So I think I will go back and add the bottom cuts. Good. Yeah, that just screwed up the band real good. Let's see if we can get it better back into shape. And so, to do that, come over here. We will hit. Ah, that's lovely. Wasn't showing you guys what I was doing in the least bit. So just for fun, I will end up coming back over here real quick and showing that I made the command decision once I got there to go ahead and make this bottom cut after all in both places, because when twisted it'll line up real nice on top of the groove. So even though it doesn't come all the way down, the twist will still lay nice and look real pretty, I think. We'll see. But along the way, as I was finishing this one up, it got a twist in there and got captured by the band. So now I kicked off the emergency stop. We'll bring it over here and I'll show you why that's bad. There it is. You can see it real clear right there. We can see, right? Let's get the finger out of the way. Get my pointing device out. That's actually what this is for. And right there. That's bad. That's a bad thing. That makes the bandsaw really not very useful anymore, unless I can beat that back into a good shape. Scrolling. You guys are keeping me nice and active in the chat today. I appreciate that. Okay. If you, I'll have to take your word on that, because I didn't feel that the PLA with the carbon fiber smelled like popcorn to me, but yeah, that's true. Not last week, but yeah, the last time I was doing this, I caught it, gave it a bit of a kink, hammered it out, and then continued on. And now I've just done it again, so we're going to see if there's anything to be done about that. By just taking it back here on the heel. I might have zoomed in. There we go. We're going to rotate it back. Let's see. Can I actually get a hammer in on that? I have that teeny weeniest little hammer here. And that looks like... I mean, if this thing has a kerf, which I expect it does, I just ruined that, but... It's still got a tiniest little bend. It's still got the tiniest little bend, but I think we're not in a bad shape now. I'm going to open it up, and so there's another problem with abusing this tool this way. And I was thinking about this earlier as I was watching it happen, and that is, this tool is meant to be used like, let's use a camera angle that works. This tool is meant to be used like this, you know, up and down, and therefore there's a right word for this, but it's this stuff here. The metal shavings that come off of with each bite of the blade pretty much falls downward. I'm posting it literally like this. Nope. Take it back like this, because you want your blade going downward so it's not taking the thing out of your hand. You can use this rest. And in doing it like this, the metal shavings are falling this way and basically into the casing, because the casing closes, it falls into the casing. So I just opened it up just now and gave it some taps to knock out all of that. And note that there was a bug carcass. Oh, that's not bug carcass, that's a live bug. Get out of there. Stupid stink bugs. Get out of my... There we go. Stupid stink bug. Alright. It was just having a nice time living inside my tool, even while I was throwing shavings at it. That's funny. I did not make this one. This one, if I remember correctly, was made by the man who got me started in blacksmithing. So, but works great as a little pointer. That would be Cullen, in case he ever happens to join the channel and lurk about. All right. Let's see if... You know what? I can actually tell without doing much just by doing this. All right, it looks like it's going to work. And I'll bring you back over here so you can judge for yourself. Oh, it's not a matter of spending the money. I'm good with spending the money on tools. It's more, so I'm definitely going to be buying a new blade. I'm actually going to buy a couple so I have a spare from now on, which I don't currently have. It's a matter of, I just want to continue working today. I didn't kill it, Ben, all right? I just didn't want it living in my, my tool. A man that protects the tiny things. What was that you said? You've cut in every direction with that thing? Ah. The right to bathe in steel shavings. All right, let's get this going again. See if we can make a couple more cuts before it gives out. I am hoping when you say catastrophic failure, you don't mean the damn thing, you know, splits and tries to maim me. There we go. So I've now given actual... Oh, I shouldn't have seen that. And I might be able to take that guard off. Children, never take the guards off. Do as I say, not as I do. Honestly, I must have done something good because I don't see as much jumping of the case now. And it feels like it's working smoother. And Roy, if you do put up that video showing me how the V-block would be helpful here, then I'll end up having to buy a V-block from you. Or make one, but I don't know if I have the intestinal fortitude to be making a V-block. Maybe once I get your hammer in here, making a V-block won't be so hard. I don't know. All right, that's the end of that battery, I think. Where does it say it's at? Where's your lights? There it is. Yep, that battery's done. Oh, interesting. There's enough pressure when doing this on the handle that I can't take the battery out. There we go. That battery's done, and that cutting's done for today, because I only have the other battery I just took out, and it's also at 1. So I have to do something else now. Put both of those where I'll remember to take them with me. All right. So how far did I make it? I got one side completely done. One side mostly done. I think I need a hacksaw for that one, or work with a different bandsaw. Maybe Mike's bandsaw. I have to go visit him. I got that one mostly done. Oh no, that was the one I was just looking at. This one I got barely started and realized, and then this one I only got one real cut done. So I've got 2 whole sides basically to do. 2 sides completed. And so now I know one battery is good for 2 sides of doing this with this little thing. Well, that's it for that. We'll set that aside, and now we have a week 4 project. And let's see what's going on in here. Well, it wasn't about money, right, for the Portaband. Honestly, it was about the lack of power. I'm not sure that this battery would be enough. So I've got all I've got for power out here in the Smithy is an EcoFlow Delta. And now have a couple more EcoFlow Delta Pros so that I could have power backup for my house, as well as power backup for my RV. So I've said it before, I've got more money than sense thanks to the career shift I made about 10 years ago. Things are a little tighter now simply because my wife had to stop working to take care of her dad. But I still have times where I get bonuses and such that I can then throw at Roy and Thomas to get me laser cut pieces for standing up an air assist power hammer. So that's an upcoming video. I have to figure out what project I need to use it with. I don't, as I understand it, watching and everything, I recognize fully that it is not a tool to replace like a power hammer or even a striker, swinging a sledge, but it's definitely able to save my my back a little bit, I think, in the future. And if we're going to be here anyway, 15 kids, my goodness, you are way too busy with kids. That's right. That is the one thing that, I joke a lot because I don't know who might actually trip over this channel. And if it's a kid, I'm joking, but I am serious at the same time. Um, in that, I'm doing things that you don't do when you're getting started, because you have to understand your risks before you can take the risks. And I'm being uh, uh, very considered in the risks I'm taking. So, Michael, you've got that right. Yes, that's true. I've got a welder. I often forget that I can do things like that, and I've got 3/4 inch bar, so I can make a V block with 3/4 inch bar. And the biggest problem, I think, is what size do I need if I want the block to sit in my hardy hole. Yeah, that's where I need the 1 inch. But I also happen to have a piece. Did I actually form it down to a full 1 inch? Let me see. So I think I have everything I need to make my own V block. This is the offcut from me making my hardy tool. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a perfect fit. There we go. So I am all the pieces, and just now need to make the time to to do some welding, and I've got myself a V block. V block achievement will be unlocked. All right, thanks for reminding me that. Well, yeah, Shane, that's what I was saying earlier. Is I know I could use a zip tie or something like that to hold that trigger, but honestly, the clamp, when I started doing the clamp, I was like, well, it's what I have handy, and I don't want to go fetch the zip tie. But as I thought more about it, I was like, well, no, the clamp is perfect because of this, like the situation I just had where I accidentally got um, the piece I was working slipped and got twisted in the saw blade. I could just knock that off and I was good. So I don't know if I could do that so easily with an electrical tie, unless what you're talking about is one of the Velcro ones, and then I would have to. I think the biggest challenge would be, is the Velcro strong enough? I know the ones that I have currently aren't. Spiced apple cider, yum. Well, Kevin, if you name the thing you want me to give away, that becomes the project I work on in the near future. So, oh, now I got to scroll back. Heat the whiskey, apple cider. I don't think that's what you were talking about, Jeff. Heating whiskey to remove the alcohol. Oh, yeah. Electrical tie to hold your trigger down. There you go. You're not my real dad. You can't tell me what to do. Gold ring casting. Are you going to film that? Uh, that pineapple twist is a cool twist, though, I have to admit. It's one I'm going to have to try here in the near future. Yeah, part 57. I don't know that I'm nearly as entertaining as Alec is, though. And I definitely don't have the business chops that he has. I don't even have the business chops that Roy has. So, yeah, I never will be a businessman. I might end up with an Etsy shop here soon where I can put some of the stuff I've made, but I don't expect to make money off of it. Just let's see. Uh, Velcro would be great. It would be easier to deal with. I just have to get a stronger Velcro. Yeah, I could definitely do the shoestring thing. That would work too. Ah, see now, leaf springs make for are much easier for making knives with than coil springs. But don't that is a project I'll be starting here soon, Mike. I was just telling folks. I don't know if you've seen this since the day I actually started it, but this was my prototype, and I got it to this point, and then I was, in with a little bit of an integral, integral bolster, all form to finish, forged to finish type stuff. And then I got to this, and I was like, that's perfect size for the handle. I'm real happy with it, but I have no idea how I'm going to handle that. And then this was just going to be a loop that you could then put a cord through. Um, but the problem was, how the hell am I handling this? At this point, I made this too thin. Um, with yours, I know what I can do, what the mistakes were I made, um, but how am I going to handle this? And I just saw a video by somebody I follow, a bladesmith I follow, um, that he created a handle using. Um, I just had it like an hour ago. Um, Twine and um, uh, fiberglass stuff, resin. Yeah, not resin. Yeah, whatever. The stuff that they use with fiberglass. So twine and that, and then build up the handle and then shape the handle to finish. So that may be what I do to finish this one up finally. And that becomes my version of the barbecue knife. And I need to start on yours next. No, the treadle hammer hasn't shown up yet, Thomas. Maybe today. I don't know. I haven't received any indication as to what the shipping situation is on that. But I didn't actually read my email yesterday, so maybe there was something in there. Yeah, I would love to see a video on casting, Kevin. That would be awesome. I love your smithing work. You know, I've shared it a number of times on my page. Epoxy, thank you. Sometimes the misfirings are annoying as all get out. Use some MIG to add some bulk where it's thin. It's not a chopper. Well, yeah, but the problem isn't the fact that it's not a chopper. It's that um, I don't have the skill to understand what I'm supposed to do. Now, I could definitely do some MIG to make it. I'm not even worried about the thickness. The thickness is fine. This way is not the problem. The problem is height. If I go to drill a hole in this to then be able to add the scales on the side, there's two problems that I don't know how to solve. Number one, I think it's not um, tall enough. I'd have to actually add material down here to then be able to drill through, and I don't know enough about welding to know if I'm going to be causing myself trouble trying to have dissimilar materials and drilling through it and things like that. And then the other problem is, um, what do you do? And this is just because I'm not a bladesmith. I watch them and I don't pay enough attention because I'm not a bladesmith. But what do you do with the gap? I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with that gap. So I got scales on here now, but what do you do with the gap? I don't know. Maybe resin? I honestly don't know. I don't know if I just put another material on there. I don't know. So I've got things here that clearly can be used as scales, um, but and then I shape it to a handle finish and make my loop, and I'm done. But yeah, I don't know. That's what's going on with that one. Yeah, and there's not. That's the problem is I didn't think through the. I think what I would actually do. The problem is, Daniel, you probably have more knowledge on this than I do. The problem is I made this tang the size you would make for a hidden tang, but I wanted this on the end with the leaf and the loop. Um, and so that then ruins the idea that this can be a hidden tang. So I think what I'd have to do if I wanted to do it right, is I would have to measure the thickness of this and then router in a groove in here the same half the depth of that thickness, and then these would meet, and it would be like having a hidden tang, except it wouldn't be, yeah, you know what I mean. I don't have to finish. Yeah, there you go, grooving the wood to fit. Some groovy wood. Yep, exactly. That's what I think I have to do. Um, but, those are more tools I don't yet have. I don't have a router. Or do I? Wait a minute. I think I was gifted a router. Now I got to go look into my tool drawers. I think my neighbor gifted me a router and I've forgotten about that. So there you go. You guys are giving me some ideas, and honestly, it's less messy to do that than it is to do epoxy and twine. Epoxy and twine is a fun concept, but it's a messy one. Uh, we're talking about throwing rings of power into mountains. We could 3D print a slide-on handle and epoxy it on. Yes, we could do that too. Yeah, I could always do get a wood chisel. It's probably the cheapest mechanism of getting it done, um, and then chisel it out. A couple of wood chisels. Yeah, you're absolutely right. A little hacksaw to lay the parallel lines, and then a little um, chipping chisel to chip it out. That would work too. Okay, thank you, Thomas. I will be looking for that. That's the work that I was talking about, Mike. We got to do is Thomas is shipping me that an air assist treadle hammer. I'm looking forward to putting that to use, but I got the work to do first, which is figure out where it's going to go, rearrange the Smithy, and figure out where it's going to go. We'll do the quick Smithy tour again. Not like I've not done this a number of times. As to why this will be a challenge, I think it's going to involve installing another 4x4 in here somewhere. But we'll step back. Actually, you know what? Rather than leaving this on the tripod and being clumsy about it, let's just take it off the tripod and walk more freely. All right. We've seen this view plenty of times now, but let's back up and just note that there's not much more to that view than that. We go from there real quick to the other side. That's the whole, it's that square. That's my smithy. And the wood is a soft cedar wood. So it's not like I think mounting them there would be very good. That's why the doors are restructured You can see the 4x4s down at the bottom, and the doors themselves are like 2x3s, I think, with it framed out top and bottom, top, sides, and bottom. So we come around here, and you can see, like I said, it's no bigger this way, but the tough shed I've got there, I could throw my electrical equipment, my powered equipment in there now, that I've got a mechanism for power that I think can last me. Then we come over here, and I've got the bench, and now you've seen the whole smithy, and you can tell I can walk the whole smithy in 4 steps. So not much to work with here, but I wanted to support Roy and Company, and I want to figure out where to put the darn thing, because I think I'm going to have fun using it. Sorry if I got your motion sickness up there again, Kevin. 2x4. Okay, that's good. I still have to figure out where the 2x4 is going to go, but that's good. Yeah, it's a sturdy structure. I'll say that. We between my boys and I building the original pavilion that it's under, and then my neighbor coming along and doing the framing and so forth for the doors. I'm not worried about this thing going anywhere, but it's just as drafty as Roy's barn is, I'm sure, with all that free flux about his place from time to time. Fortunately, I don't get a whole lot of that. Hey, Eric. Everything, but I can't say anything important happened on this side. The chat's been real fun, so scroll on back and see. I did finish, and where did I put it? This is my life. Could have sworn I left it right there, but I probably put it over here. And I set my tong in a place that it shouldn't have been set. Now it's put where it's supposed to be. I will find this thing. Oh, there it is. I had it in reach when I was sitting on my anvil. All right. What I got done today was to take this, which had only 1 groove in it, add the other 3 grooves, and then lay out the where the cuts need to be, and started doing cuts. I got 2 sides completed, and I still have 2 sides to go before my little portaband gave out for the day. So that's where we got today. We worked principally with charcoal, because I'm running out of coal. Maybe next weekend I'll head over to the Farrier Supply in Olympia and see if I can pick up some coal there. But otherwise, I got plenty of charcoal to work with. What else? So Daniel, did you end up getting one of those one of the treadle hammers too? I see something I want out of my forge. Let's pull this back over here. There we go. Let's see if the fire is completely out or not. A lot of that's one of the downsides of working with that looks like freaking a lump of clay. I don't know how that got in there. A pretty warm lump of clay, but it's a lump of clay. This is out, I think. Oh no, there's still something going on there. But yeah, the one thing I don't look forward to is next week when I have to get all this ash out of here. If I had to start the forge back up again, I could. It's still got hot coals in there, but I don't need to. Oh no. Oh, okay, okay, got it. Work next to a bee's nest. I guess I'm hoping that means you are a beekeeper, not that you just have random um, bees nests around you. Now, Debaka, I've seen you work. I think, haven't I? Haven't I seen you work, Daniel? Chisel them in. So, Jeff, have you, if you've not seen this twist before, I understand completely why you might think that would be the case. But the cut-ins are very carefully considered. What did I? How in the world did I do? There it is. I put it over where I might use it again. Um, the cut-ins are really carefully considered in that this diagonal cut, um, while it goes to the middles um, uh, here and here in the inside, it's not in the middle, and it instead leaves you with something like a 1/4 inch, maybe a little more square, going from the cut to the other side, to the other side, to the other side. So there's basically a core in here of a 1/4 inch that hasn't been cut through. It's a very clever um, twist for that very reason. Whoever came up with it, I don't know if that was just happenstance or they really thought it through like that, but it is a really clever, result. But what ends up happening, just in case I wasn't clear enough about that, is this flat and this flat, 45 degrees from that is now a new flat on the inside, so that you've basically got a 1/4 inch square going on at a 45-degree angle from what it is you're seeing on the outside. It's magic. No, I see. Ben, don't wake up Ben from his dreams. All right, folks. It is 2 minutes after the hour, which means Jeff, you made it. I mean, not Jeff. Yeah, Eric, you made it just in time um, to let everybody start saying uh, farewell and have a great week to everybody. Oh, so Thomas, you didn't have a whole lot of free flux on the ground. Good. um, so anyway, as I was saying, um, it's time for me to bid everyone a great rest of your weekend, a great week for those of you that are, you know, in a completely different time zone that makes it seem like it's tomorrow. Um, you're already starting your week, so I hope the day is finishing up well for you. Mondays, you know. So be well. See everybody over on Blacksmith Church over on Island Meadow Forge next week. Um, my chit chat there is dropped dramatically now that I'm putting this show on after theirs, just simply because I'm feeding animals and setting up, but I do get to at least chat a bit during the first half hour of the show and a little bit along the way from there, and I do enjoy seeing the chatter going on there, and I'm really just thankful you guys carry it on over here with me. So until next week, be well. Love and light.